Man, it's hard to tell what Biden's doing, to be totally frank. I feel like
it's weekend at Bernie's.
The real president is whoever controls the teleprompter. It's like the path to power is the path to the teleprompter. Because then he just reads the teleprompter. So I do feel like if somebody would accidentally lean on the teleprompter, it's going to be like Anchorman. It's going to be like QQQ ASDF 123 type of thing.
I mean, in fairness to Biden, he hasn't been napping as much as he needs to, but
it's hard to say
hard job.
These sort of things that are getting done. This administration it doesn't seem to get a lot done. Whatever. Like the Trump administration, leaving Trump aside, there were a lot of people in the administration who were effective at getting things done. So this administration seems just to not have the drive to just get shit done. That's my impression.
All right, guys. So as you just saw there, that is Elon Musk roasting up Joe Biden, roasting up Sleepy Joe. And I'm gonna tell you guys, Elon Musk over the past few months or so has become very, very, very political, because I think that he represents what a whole lot of moderates in this country are feeling about the Democrats and the Biden administration. He feels like the Democrat Party has left them behind because they've embraced the extremism in their party, which is something I've been telling you guys about for a long time now. Okay, the Democrat Party has basically cut off the reasonable people in their party and said they're racist, sexist, homophobic bigots, right? And Elon Musk doing this interview, right, on the All In podcast, a podcast that I highly recommend, by the way. It's basically a podcast where billionaires talk about current events, right? And I like it because the billionaires have political opinions across the spectrum, so it's not an echo chamber, right? There's conservative and liberal opinions, and they just talk about current events from a billionaire's perspective. Again, very fascinating podcast. Elon Musk is obviously friends with these guys; they're all buddies. So they're on this podcast and they're asking Elon Musk these questions, a lot of questions surrounding Twitter and current events and the Biden administration. And one of the questions was about how the Biden administration and the Democrat Party has basically not embraced Elon Musk, even though Elon Musk is doing things, particularly when it comes to electric vehicles, that the Democrats claim that they support. And they wanted Elon Musk's take on, again, the fact that the Democrat Party has pushed him and other figures that they don't like, that are more moderate, like Joe Rogan, away from the party. And I want you guys to take a look at his response, because again, this is a pretty fascinating conversation from Elon Musk. Take a look. Twitter at this point, has a very far left bias, and I would classify myself as a moderate, and neither Republican nor Democrat. And in fact, I have voted overwhelmingly for Democrats historically, overwhelmingly. I'm not sure. I might never have voted for a Republican, just to be clear.
Right.
Now this election, I would.
Well, David, you okay? Keep going. He's fine. We're going to resuscitate him. We're going to resuscitate David Sachs. I mean, let me ask you a personal question.
The point I'm trying to make is that this is not some sort of attempt to, it's not some right-wing takeover, as say people on the left may fear, but rather a moderate-wing takeover, and an attempt to ensure that people of all political beliefs feel welcome on a digital town square. So, I get trashed by the media all the time. It's fine. I don't care. Do it twice as much. I couldn't care less. But it's indicative of the fact that even though I have a lot of resources, I do not actually have the ability to stop the media from trashing me, and that's actually a good thing.
Yeah, I have to ask, with regard to this current administration, I know how hard you work on the car company, and then Biden, you've been a lifelong Democrat, you've donated to Obama and to everybody, probably never voted Republican, and yet, and the same is true for Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is, a Bernie Sanders supporter, and that the Democratic Party has been openly hostile to Joe Rogan, and Biden can't even say the word Tesla or invite you to the White House when they do an EV summit. I'm curious, just On a very personal basis, what does it feel like to have that experience where the party you supported won't even say the name of your company or invite you there? They should be celebrating the work you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like this is not right. Like this is the issue here is that there's just the Democrat Party is overly controlled by the unions and by the trial lawyers, particularly the class action lawyers. And generally, if you'll see something that is not in the interest of the people, on the Democrat side, it's going to come because of the unions, which is just another form of monopoly, and the trial lawyers. That's where actions will be happening from the Democrat side that are not in the interest of the people. And then, to be fair, on the Republican side, there's if you say like where there's something like not ideal happening, it's because of corporate evil and religious zealotry. That's generally where the bad things will be coming from on the Republican side, that are not representative of the people. So. In the case of Biden, he is simply too much captured by the unions, which was not the case with Obama. So in the case of Obama, you could have, he was sort of quite reasonable, and I think he took more of a view that, obviously you need to take the concerns of the unions into account, but there are bigger issues at stake, and unfortunately, Biden does not do that.
Yeah, so I found Elon Musk's answer to that question to be fascinating, because there's like two ways you can kind of look at it, okay? The first way that you can look at it is the way that Elon Musk answered the question in regards to the Democrat Party pushing people like him away, even though, he's doing a whole lot of work with electric vehicles and climate change and things that Democrats claim are a priority to them. They say that climate change is an existential threat. Okay, you also have Elon Musk that owns SpaceX actively supporting Ukraine with their war against Russia, right? But for whatever reason, Elon Musk is the bad guy, right? They can't even mention him or his company or anything like that in terms of the work that they're doing that is largely beneficial to what the Democrats claim that they want. And Elon Musk pointed out from a business perspective why the Democrat Party has not necessarily embraced people like him. And he pointed out the unions, right? Because Elon Musk has had a lot of issues with unions, right? He is not a fan of unions at all. And we all know that the Democrat Party is bought and sold by the unions, right? And because the unions control the Democrat Party, they pushed Elon Musk away, even though Elon Musk is doing work on problems that Democrats claim is an existential threat to our society, right? But the other part of that is the part that I talk to you guys a lot about when it comes to the social stuff, because the person that asked that question also mentioned Joe Rogan, right? You can throw Bill Maher in there. You can throw people like that in there, people that are classical liberals or moderates that have historically supported Democrats or progressives being pushed away from the party simply because they have some views on certain issues, maybe social issues, maybe the pandemic, that the far left extremists don't like. Because again, you got to agree with the far left 100%. And if you don't, then you're a racist, sexist, homophobic bigot. Okay, in Elon Musk's case, as you just heard there, the guy's like, yeah, I'm a moderate, but I've voted Democrat my whole life. I probably never voted for a Republican, even though I'll probably consider doing that in the future. The Democrats, again, have pushed him away because, hey, he's not union friendly and he wants free speech, right? He wants free speech on Twitter, and you saw the far left woke revolutionaries go after him for that. Okay, so that being said, Elon Musk is not the only billionaire going after the Biden administration, as Jeff Bezos has jumped into the ring to now rip Joe Biden, as Jeff Bezos has a problem with Joe Biden's solution to inflation, right? In which Joe Biden is basically pitching Build Back Better light, okay, as his solution to inflation, which means increasing corporate tax rates, right? And Jeff Bezos has an issue with the Biden administration implying that increasing corporate tax rates is somehow going to fix inflation, as he responded to Joe Biden's tweet saying that, quote, the newly created disinformation board should review this tweet, or maybe they need to form a non-sequester board instead. Raising corporate taxes is fine to discuss. Taming inflation is critical to discuss. Mushing them together is just misdirection. I mean, that's facts. I mean, Jeff Bezos is right. I don't see how raising corporate tax rates is going to help inflation, which is why new affirmative action White House press secretary Ms. Karine Jean-Pierre stumbled and couldn't answer the question when asked by Peter Doocy how that would work. Okay, Jeff Bezos also went on to respond further because the White House basically addressed Jeff Bezos' his comment, and Jeff Bezos says, "Look, a squirrel. This is the White House's statement about my recent tweets. They understandably want to muddy the topic. They know inflation hurts the neediest the most, but unions aren't causing inflation, and neither are wealthy people." Remember, the administration tried their best to add another $3.5 trillion to federal spending, but if they had succeeded, inflation would be even higher than it is today, and inflation is at a 40-year high. Facts. Even though there's some people on Twitter that claims inflation is mild and transitory, right? And they say they're economic experts. But it doesn't seem like the billionaire class is necessarily agreeing with that. As Elon Musk was actually asked to chime in on Jeff Bezos' comments about inflation and the Biden administration, I want you guys to take a look at his response to that as well. Take a look.
Elon, did you see Bezos's tweet back and forth with Biden, where Biden, I think, was talking about inflation, but then he correlated that to taxing corporations, and Bezos said this is misinformation and disinformation, et cetera, et cetera. What did you think about that whole exchange then back and forth?
I mean, the obvious reason for inflation is that the government printed a zillion amount of more money than it had, obviously. So it's like the government can't just, have issue checks far in excess of revenue without there being inflation. Velocity of money held constant. So unless there's something would change with velocity of money, but it's just if the federal government writes checks, they never bounce. So that is effectively creation of more dollars. And if there are more dollars created, then the increase in the goods and services output of the economy, then you have inflation. Again, velocity of money held constant. This is very basic. This is not like super complicated.
Yeah, it's not super complicated, right? Elon Musk is correct. We all know while we're experiencing a lot of the inflation that we're experiencing right now, and like Jeff Bezos said, the Democrats tried their hardest. They tried their hardest to put trillions more dollars into an economy that was already overheated. And Joe Manchin single-handedly stopped the Democrats from doing that. However, again, we still got the terrible inflation crisis that we have because, again, the Democrats just had to have their stimulus package, even though we objectively did not need it, okay? And Elon Musk is pointing it out. The billionaire class, Jeff Bezos is pointing it out. It seems like the Democrats have lost everybody, right? They lost everybody except the unions and the extremists, okay? They've lost the regular working class folks. They lost the moderates. They've lost, again, the billionaires. They lost everybody at this point, okay? Nobody likes Joe, right? Nobody likes Joe Biden, so it seems. So with that being said, again, I found that conversation from Elon Musk to be fascinating, and the fact that he's now coming out here and being a lot more politically involved and more vocal about politics, and he's certainly been an interesting character that has been added to the political sphere. Especially as we get closer to the midterms and going into 2024, a time in which I think that there's a lot of people like Elon Musk, okay, like Jeff Bezos as well too. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, okay? This dude is definitely a leftist, right? He's a liberal, just like Elon Musk is probably, more left-leaning. He's a moderate, probably out classify him as a libertarian, to be quite honest with you. Joe Rogan, those people, you're going to see a lot of those people considering voting for the Republican Party, right? Just because of the fact that Democrats have basically abandoned anybody with any common sense or any moderate or anybody that doesn't agree with the extreme left. So we'll see. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.